If you sell clothes on Depop, drive a delivery app, or flip gear on eBay on the side, this one's for you. There's a comforting story going around that small, cashish, app-based money is too fragmented for the ATO to notice. That story is wrong, and it can cost you. Millions of Australians now run a side hustle, and the ATO has made it a clear focus. Today, there are 3 moves to get this right. Check whether it's actually a business, record every dollar in and out, and estimate whether GST applies. Do all 3, and you stop overpaying and stop hiding from a tax office that can already see you. Here's the number that changes everything: $75,000. That's the GST turnover threshold where a business generally must register for GST in Australia, LDB 2025. But here's the part nobody tells you. You can owe income tax on your side hustle long before you ever get near that figure. 3 moves. Check if it's a business, record your income and expenses, and estimate your GST. Each takes under 20 minutes, and all of them are free. Problem 1 is the hobby myth. People assume a side hustle is just a hobby, so they never declare the income. But the ATO says there is no fixed dollar threshold for being in business, ATO 2025. Instead, it looks at whether the activity is continuous, repeated, and profit-seeking. If it ticks those boxes, the income has to be declared, whether it came through an app, a website, or a marketplace. And here's why that matters to your wallet. If you don't keep records, you can end up taxed on your gross receipts instead of your net profit. Clear Docs 2025. That means every dollar that lands in your account gets counted, even though platform fees, postage, and supplies should have come off first. The difference between gross and net is real money, but the money you don't have to give away. Problem 2 compounds the first. The moment your activity counts as a business, new obligations appear. You may need an ABN, you may have to register for GST, and you're pushed into more formal record keeping, ATO 2025, LDB 2025. These duties don't shrink. They grow as your turnover rises, and they don't wait politely for you to notice them. The long-run cost of doing nothing is brutal in slow motion. You can end up paying tax late on income you should have set aside, while also missing deductible expenses because you never kept the receipts. The ATO requires accurate records, and commentary on its approach says you should keep them for 5 years, Clear Docs 2025. Miss that, and you pay more tax on less proof. So let's kill the myth directly. The belief is, if it's small, cash-based, or through an app, the ATO won't see it. The fact is, the ATO says side hustle income must be declared when it's business income, and it has broadened data matching with platforms and financial channels, ATO 2025, Yahoo Finance AU 2024, so undeclared income is increasingly visible. Put the 2 costs side by side. A side hustle bringing in $18,000 a year is taxable if it's business-like, ATO 2025, and over 15 years, that's $270,000 of cumulative turnover, author's estimate. And here's the part nobody tells you. The danger isn't one bad tax year, it's the slow compounding of unpaid tax and missing records across all of them. Meet Mia. She's 34, a marketing coordinator in Brisbane, earning $82,000 a year. On the side, she resells clothes and accessories on Depop and eBay, pulling in about $18,000 a year, and she plans to keep at it for 15 years before retirement. Here's what Mia found when she actually read the ATO guidance. Discovery 1. That $18,000 is not too small to matter, because the ATO looks for continuous, repeated, profit-seeking activity rather than a dollar threshold, ATO 2025. Mia's regular reselling is business income, not a hobby. That means all of it has to be declared. Every sale through every platform. Discovery 2. Mia can legitimately deduct her business expenses. Platform fees, postage and supplies all come off, but only if she keeps proper records. Clear Docs 2025. The practical difference is enormous. Without records, she's taxed on gross receipts, but with them, she's taxed only on her net profit. Same income, very different tax bill. Discovery 3 is the one that surprised her most. If her turnover grows to $75,000, she crosses the GST registration threshold, LDB 2025, and her whole compliance picture changes. GST on sales, business activity statements, the lot. A casual income stream quietly becomes a formal tax obligation the moment it crosses that line. Stack it all up over Mia's 15-year horizon, and the exposure is $270,000 of gross turnover before any growth. Author's estimate. The lesson isn't panic, it's that the longer income runs undeclared and unrecorded, the more the tax and the record-keeping risk quietly compounds against you. So could this be you? You've never declared income from your selling or gig app. You don't actually know whether it counts as a hobby or a business. And you haven't kept records of your fees, postage, or supplies. If even one of those rings true, the next 3 moves are written for you. Now let's fix it, because this is genuinely doable. These 3 moves take you from exposed to organised. You'll know your status, you'll have clean records, and you'll know exactly where you sit on GST. None of it requires an accountant, and all of it is free. This is general information, not personal advice. Move 1. Check whether you're running a hobby or a business. Go to the ATO's Side Hustle Guidance page and compare your activity against its business indicators: profit intent, repetition, and business-like conduct. Then write down plainly whether you're selling off personal items or actively sourcing inventory and chasing customers. Open the ATO's Join the Bustle of a Side Hustle page. Compare your activity to the profit and repetition indicators. Then note whether you're clearing out your wardrobe or sourcing stock to resell. Good looks like this. You can clearly explain why the ATO would treat it as a hobby or a business. Move 2. Record all your income and expenses in one place before you lodge. The ATO requires accurate records, and business records generally need to be kept for 5 years. ClearDocs 2025. Pull together your bank, app and marketplace statements and capture both the money coming in and the deductible money going out. Open your bank, app and marketplace statements, export your sales, fees, postage, supplies and receipts. Put them all in one folder or spreadsheet, organized by tax year. Good looks like this. Every dollar in and every deductible dollar out is fully traceable. Move 3. Estimate whether GST and ABN obligations apply, especially if your turnover is climbing. The key benchmark is the $75,000 GST threshold, LDB 2025. Add up your expected annual turnover, compare it to that line, and if you're getting close, review your registration needs early rather than after the fact. Total your expected annual side hustle turnover. Compare it against $75,000. If you're approaching it, review ABN and GST registration in the ATO's own tools and guidance. Good looks like this. You know whether you're safely below, near, or above $75,000. Why now? Because the pressure has been building for years. In 2024, the ATO expanded its data matching, broadening scrutiny of side hustle and sharing economy income through more platform and financial sources, Yahoo Finance AU 2024. In 2025, it ran a public side hustle compliance push, reminding taxpayers to declare and to assess whether they're in business, ATO 2025. And into 2026, the enforcement emphasis continues. Report all income. Keep records. Once you've acted, verify it. You should see every sale and fee recorded in one place, sorted by tax year. Confirm your tax return includes all of your side hustle income, not just the easy bits. And if your turnover is nearing $75,000, then go and check your ABN and GST registration position before it's a problem. Everything here comes straight from the ATO's own side hustle guidance, reporting from Yahoo Finance and tax compliance analysis from ClearDocs and LDB. All the links are in the description so you can verify every number and read the rules yourself. So now you know, side hustle income is taxable when it's business-like, records turn gross into net, and $75,000 is the GST line to watch. Next time, we'll tackle whether your side hustle actually needs an ABN and exactly when GST registration kicks in. If reading the fine print just saved you from overpaying tax or from a nasty ATO surprise, do one thing for me. Subscribe, so the next breakdown of the rules nobody explains lands in your feed before tax time hits.